Hello, I'm Catherine McBreen, the president of Millionaire Corner, and I'm excited today to be talking to Beth Pinsker, the money editor for Reuters. Before she was at Reuters, Beth was also the editor of WalletPop.com, which is part of AOL. Um, Prior job, she was an editor at iVillage, a reporter at Inside.com, and a film critic for the Dallas Morning News. She's maintained a really successful freelance career as well, and she's written for Wired, The Wall Street Journal, The New York Times, Entertainment Weekly, and The Hollywood Reporter. Help me to welcome Beth here today, and we'll get started. Are there any types of investments that you see this year that are particularly interesting to investors? And I mean both good and bad. I mean, it may be something that doesn't make any sense, like, well, I don't know, bitcoins, depending on your view of that. Or it could be something, like gold for the last few years was really interesting to people, whether it should have been or not. Do you see any of those types of investments this year that people are kind of like latching onto?
Well, I think that people are still consumed with emerging markets and how to squeeze money out of it. And they've taken a particularly hard hit recently. And so you have people, trying all sorts of different companies and coordinations and different ways to get at that market. And you have people coming up with the hot country all the time. You have the tips and like they have acronyms for all of them. Um, and today T stands for Thailand, and tomorrow T is going to stand for Turkey. And everybody's got a different theory of which countries are the hot ones to invest in right now. Or people look at particular sectors. Like we just took a look at the technology and biotechnology sectors. And there's trouble in those sectors right now. They aren't doing so great. But there are variations within those sectors that where you can find companies that are undervalued and can win on it. But it takes a lot of work. And if you're a passive investor, if you're really just investing your retirement money and not investing active amounts of money, um, you might not want to be looking at it that specifically. This is why people put so much of their money in target date funds, is they want somebody else to look at the ins and outs of everyday trading.
So do you think the so-called lifestyle funds, the target dates or whatever types of moniker they're using, do you think that those are a good investment for a lot of people?
I think that whether or not they're good, that's where all the money. I know that that's where that's where my money is, because it's the easiest thing to do. The one thing that experts have cautioned me on is to pick a date that's further off in the future than you think of as your retirement date. And that's like the best advice that I've seen, is because target date funds operate on what's called a glide path, and they sort of change the allocations as you go towards and get closer to retirement. But people will pick a retirement end date, like they'll pick a 2030, like, for somebody my age, it's generally in the 2035, 2030 range. And that may well be when people who are my age in their 40s retire, but it's not going to be when we're using that money. So if you pick a glide path that ends, when you're 60, but you're going to live to 95 or 100, you need to be invested in the market more aggressively a lot longer than that glide path may account for. So the advice I've heard from people, the experts that we interview, is to be aware of that and to not, or to get out of the target date fund, when the target date fund ends, and go into something else that is appropriate for your age and the amount of time you have left, so that you don't pull that money out of the market too soon. Because that's what a lot of retirees are doing right now. That's like the bane of the baby boomers' existence right now, is that they have too much money in cash. They're afraid of the market. They're afraid of losing things like they did in 2008. They're too close to retirement to take any risks. And so they're putting it in cash. But they've got a long time left to live, and they are not making any money on it in cash right now. So if you are younger than that, if you are, a Generation X or Generation Y, you need to be thinking more aggressively for a longer period of time.
If any of our viewers would like to follow you, where would be the best place to follow you at?
You can find me on Twitter at Beth Pinsker. or on Facebook at Reuters Money.
Thank you for watching us at millionairecorner.com, and feel free to access our site at any time to seek out financial information.